Welcome back. Sudan is to devalue its currency to 18 Sudanese pounds per dollar in January from the current exchange rate of 6.7. The finance minister, Mohamed Othman Rukabi, says the devaluation, which includes the customs exchange rate, the rate used to calculate customs duties, is timed to take place when the 2018 budget begins in the first week of January. And Libya's oil industry revival suffered a setback on Tuesday after an explosion at a pipeline carrying crude to the OPEC nation's biggest export terminal. The state-run National Oil Corporation says production will drop by 70,000 to 100,000 barrels a day after the explosion. And the movement of French businesses, a French delegation of entrepreneurs, looks to boost the level of economic activities between Nigeria and France in 2018. After a recent visit to Nigeria, the French investment community sees the France-Nigeria trade relations advancing beyond 10 billion euros.
On the Business France side, we had in the last year, we had more than 70 mid-sized companies coming to Nigeria and especially to Lagos. On the big groups, the corporates, we had 2016, 2017, I would say roughly about 40 big groups coming. What is interesting to underline is that a small half of these corporates were still not completely present in Nigeria, and in between, in the last 1.5 years, we are very happy to see that more than 12 companies have now established an office, established an affiliate company, going even for some of them in an acquisition during this year 2016, which was a difficult economical year for Nigeria. So some opportunities were taken by partnership in between France and Nigerian companies. Well, on the investment side, we have about 10 billion euro investment in Nigeria on the French side. I would say the progression is still ongoing, despite the economical situation we had in 2016. French presence globally, we have more than 100 French companies established in Nigeria. As on a direct presence with affiliate companies, as in commercial partnership, as in acquisition. So it's a good presence. We are still pushing to do more. And 2017, especially now since a few months, we have the good results of end of the recession, so we will push in this direction.
And we had a kind of dent in our bilateral exchanges regarding commercial. It's mainly due to the fall of the price of oil and gas. But it is, at the same token, a very good opportunity to reinforce our relationship in other fields, meaning services, meaning agri and agribusiness, meaning telecommunication. So we are really in the process to have to strengthen our relationship, and not only on this very field of oil and gas, which remains, I do agree, very, very important.
And African entrepreneurs continue to fuel economic growth on the continent, creating jobs and driving innovation. While entrepreneurs are central to bridging Africa's widening inequality gap, experts argue that most governments on the continent are not doing enough to help them. The next report looks at how entrepreneurs helped drive businesses in 2017.
Early in the year, we went to Mama Fresh, a family bakery in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, that has been making and exporting injera, a staple in the country for the last 15 years. Injera is a spongy fermented bread made from teff, a cereal that looks like wheat and has a sour taste. It's baked on a clay plate and is largely consumed in Ethiopia and Eritrea. Mama Fresh also packages various Ethiopian dishes, including chicken sauce and spices, but injera is its fastest moving product.
When we begin this business, when we are starting export, we are using only for the diaspora. Our target is for diaspora. Nowadays, from 2014 until now, we are looking for the international business. So at the beginning, 5%, 95% for diaspora. Nowadays, we are reaching 20% for the international market, 80% for diaspora.
In Nigeria, Oluwatobiloba Ohama Bello was shipping snails. Oluwatobiloba sources the giant African land snail species used in the beauty and food industries from local farmers.
The export business came when I started here in Lagos, and I had a lot of inquiries from the US, from UK, from Holland, like a lot of Nigerians. Like even when I knew that I'd not even covered Lagos, even till now, I've still not covered Lagos, you know. So when I started having inquiries via email, via phone calls, then a lot of African stores were calling me, oh, can you supply us? And you know, in my head, it just clicked that, oh, there's a market.
In Cameroon, Pascaline Nanda made and sold infant cereal Blessolac, a brand of baby food made from soya, wheat, fruits, milk and sugar. Nanda started her business 5 years ago to counter imported brands, which she says are generally expensive and contain preservatives.
From 6 months, breast milk is not enough to feed a baby. So when I would travel to my village, my husband noticed that the women in the village would roast wheat and would feed it to the children to help them grow. So I had an idea to use the same wheat and make something else with it. And after several trials, Blessolac was born.
Kenyan entrepreneur Siru Waweru Wathiaka and her partners were helping spark an industrial revolution powered by women with their toy brand Umba. Siru, founder and CEO of Fun Kids Group, which manufactures African-inspired educational and functional children's products, decided to start the company 7 years ago when she couldn't find a quality bed for her son and decided to make one herself.
We realized the huge gap in using creativity, innovation, and manufacturing in the children's space. Around the world, children industries are in the billions of dollars. But here, for some reason, we don't see the importance of investing in our children. And I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about inspiring them.
Borotho Bakery in South Africa's township of Soweto was bringing down the cost of living with affordable bread. The bakery was started by Nicholas Refilo at a time when other bakers in the city hiked prices of wheat products to keep up with inflation costs. A loaf of bread cost about 44 US cents, and that's nearly half of the price of bread in the market. Deliveries in the neighborhood are done by bicycle or on a shopping cart.
Living in the community whereby the economy is so down, unemployment, job is lagging, food security is a problem as well. So I was thinking to innovate something that the whole community is going to charge something from what we're doing as a business. So I say a community business, we put it that way because of the majority of the people to afford and to endorse us that the business is very classic.
Growing consumer demand and an emerging middle class continue to provide opportunities for exciting startups and investment on the continent while driving economic growth in Africa.
And with that, we draw the curtain on today's edition of the program. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Chimezi Obi. You're welcome.